Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm chilling in the office, taking care of business. Mind, body, and soul. This is how we get through. Let's talk about motorcycles. I know I usually have a lot of self-help topics, a lot of mental health stuff. We can philosophize about all that stuff tomorrow. Oh, I got notes I've been studying all week. We're going to have our Sunday study group coming up. I think it'll be a good one. But let's just talk bikes right now. For any of you wondering who I am, I've owned a motorcycle shop for more than 20 years, Sinister City Motorcycles. We started in Los Angeles, moved to Daytona Beach, been rocking and rolling here in Daytona in Florida ever since. Here's my list off the top of my head, I don't have any notes for this, of bikes that I think are great motorcycles, great used bikes for either a beginner, intermediate, or advanced rider, but anyone out there who's just looking for a motorcycle. These are some good options. Let's start with the old school stuff. Now, there's certain bikes that I like. I own a custom bike shop, and I have certain fetishes for bikes that they don't really run well. For example, Triumphs and Nortons and BSAs. I love the British bikes. I've been fucking with them for 20 years. I have a big reputation in Florida for being the Triumph guy. I got it, which arm is it on? I got a Triumph tattooed on my fucking arm. But I'm not suggesting you buy one. Because they are hard to keep running. Now, the newer Triumphs, it's kind of a different company. I know it says Triumph, and the logo's the same. That's not the same as the old ones. A real Triumph person kind of looks at the old Triumphs as like it's a different company almost. Some philanthropist bought the company after it burned down, and you know, whatever, there's a whole history there. It seems like they use a lot of Japanese technology, but I'm not going to bash the new Triumphs. They're expensive as fuck. And you may not be able to find a mechanic just anywhere. You may be forced to take it to the Triumph dealership, and then they're going to rape you. So even though I got the tattoo, and I'm known as the Triumph guy, I'm not suggesting you buy a Triumph. But I do think that if you like that style of bike, the standard, we used to call those bikes standards. It was just a street bike. And you could go a lot of ways with a bike like that. You'll notice that you could take a bike like that and turn it into a cafe racer, turn it into a brat bike, turn it into a full track bike. You could turn it into a chopper, a bobber. You can go almost any way with it. So people like that style. If you like the Triumph, here's two bikes that you can look at. One is the Yamaha Midnight Special. It's the twin cylinder. Looks just like a Triumph. It's a solid engine. The Midnight Special, I believe it was a 650. And it's the Japanese version of a Triumph. And it looks very traditional and classic. You can take it and customize the living crap out of it. There's whole websites dedicated to them. They'll teach you how to do it. You can buy kits to do it where you don't even have to fabricate stuff up. We fabricate stuff in my shop, but you don't have to. You can buy bolt-on hardtail kits, bolt-on cafe racer kits, whatever you want to do. You could also look at, now here's one of my favorite Triumph ripoffs, is the Kawasaki, what is it? The Kawasaki 650, and I believe it was the GW 650 or GB 650, but it was a Triumph ripoff. Kawasaki is known for completely ripping off other companies, and they do a great job at it. They will rip off a Triumph and make a Triumph way better. That Kawasaki 650, they have a newer version of it that they relaunched called the 800, the Kawasaki 800, and it looks like a Triumph. It looks like a traditional street bike. So those are some options, but if you want to get an old school standard bike, here's what you do. Here's a solid reference for a bike you could get. The Honda CB750, it's an inline four, it's not a twin, it's a four-cylinder. They ran from about 69 up until, geez, I don't have Wikipedia in front of me, but into the 2000s. I like the 69 to about 77 are the single overhead cam. They come with kickstart and electric start, either or. It's a smooth, easy, light kick. It's not a hard kick. The CB750s, the kicker is easy to use. They run forever. I bought a Honda CB750. It was a 1971 single overhead cam CB750 out of the back of a guy's pickup truck. It had been laying down in the back of his pickup truck for 2 years. All we did was prop it up on its wheel in the back of the truck, prop it up, put some gas in it, and just for shits and giggles, see if it fired up. That motherfucker fired up first try. I gave him $500 for that bike, turned it into a cool ass chopper, sold the chopper for $8,000, and then the customer that I sold it to brought it back to me every year or so in order to update it and to do more, and we made probably another $8,000 off of a $500 investment. CB750s are great. I love them. And you can do anything you want to a bike like that. So let's go on to the next one. If you want something a little bit more modern, a little bit more everyday rider, a little bit more of a commuter bike to work and back, get yourself a cruiser. Now you can get a small Japanese cruiser, and if you want a smaller Japanese cruiser, I suggest, there's a lot of them. The one that I suggest is, again, a Kawasaki. I'm a big Kawasaki fan. Kawasaki's are tight, they're traditional, and like I said, they rip off other bikes, so they look great. The Kawasaki Vulcan 800. They ran from 1996 into the 2000s, and then they stopped them, and then they ran them again. You only want to get the older ones. Get yourself a 96, 97, 98, 99, somewhere in that age range. They all look the same. All the parts will be the same. You won't be able to tell the difference. That's a fucking beautiful bike. That will run forever. 800 cc's, V-twin, chain driven, very classic styling, 4-gallon gas tank. Perfect Jap bike for you to have. Now, if you want a Harley, I like Harleys. I own a Harley. I've owned several Harleys. I'm a Harley guy. You can't go wrong with a Sportster. Get yourself an older, like an 81 Ironhead Sportster. Back in the old days, you used to be able to find those bikes for dirt cheap. Nobody wanted them. You could pick up an Ironhead Sportster for nothing, $2,000, and have yourself the baddest fucking Fonzie bike, little James Dean bike in town. Now they're a little bit more desirable, supply and demand. Everybody wants them. You'll pay a little bit more, but it's still a good, affordable way to get into a Harley. Now, if you want something a little bit more modern, just get yourself one of those 48s. I owned a Sportster 48. That's a great bike. Oh, I love the 48s. I bought a Harley Davidson 48 in 2012, I think it was. 2014. It was a while ago. 10 years ago when they first came out. I bought it out of the Vance & Hines booth, Vance & Hines race team. I bought it out of the race team's booth, and they had completely customized this to make it a track bike. I had the baddest 48 in town. It was the baddest bike ever. And the funny thing about that bike was it is a little small. So if you're a larger guy, you will outgrow a Sportster as much fun as you have on it. So staying with Harley and in the cruiser section, I suggest a Road King. I know there's a lot of different Harleys, the Dynas and the Softails. We can name them all. Everybody has their favorite. My favorite is the Road King. I suggest getting a Road King any year. The Road King is a bad fucking bike. I have a 2009 Road King. 2009. I got plenty of money, man. I could go buy the brand new one if I wanted to. I will never sell my bike. I love my 2009 Road King. I will have it buried with me. I'll be buried on that motherfucker with the ape hangers. So that's really, to me, the one bike. If you just want to get to it, what's the one bike you recommend? The Road King. Get yourself a Road King. You'll never think about anything else ever again. Now, let's go to sport bikes before we go to the touring bikes. Sport bikes, again, I'm going to have to say let's stick with Kawasaki. I've had Hondas, I've had Yamahas. They're great bikes, they're fine bikes. Honda has some great sport bikes, but I've experienced repair issues with Hondas. You can easily repair them. The parts are affordable and you can find them everywhere, but they do break down. The Yamahas are a little bit loose. They rattle. and you spend a decent amount of money, you go spend several $1,000s for a motorcycle, you don't want it to rattle. It's just they're put together loose. The Kawasaki, get yourself a Ninja. If you're a new rider, start off with the Ninja 600 or smaller. They make, I think, a 300, a 400, a 500. They have a bunch of different sizes of Ninjas. Get yourself a 600 Ninja. That's a good starter bike. It's fast as fuck. If you want something a little bit retro and you want to impress people at a bike night, get yourself one of the older, like the 90s model Ninja 750. That was a bad motherfucking bike. And stock, they're like lime green, ugly green. I don't leave it stock. But if you find a stock one and it's in perfect condition, you might want to look at the value and the collectability of it, because those 750s, those were desirable bikes. Now let's go to touring bikes. I personally suggest, and this is going to offend some of the Harley guys. I'm a Harley guy. I know. I got a belt buckle. I'm not going to stand up. I got a Harley belt buckle on right now. I suggest a Goldwing. I know you guys are pissed. Some of you guys are already like, fuck you. A Goldwing, brother. A Goldwing. That's a spaceship. Those things are amazing. You get yourself one that's a few years old. It still has all the bells and whistles and buttons. And if you've ever ridden one, it's amazing. And you got to understand, that's a bike you're going to take 500 miles each day. And then you're going to sleep somewhere, and then you're going to do 500 miles tomorrow. You want yourself a big giant spaceship. It's got reverse. It's heated seats. It's an amazing vehicle. And I can't tell you a specific year. They're expensive brand new. So find yourself an older one. You could go way back and get a vintage Goldwing. I'm not going to suggest electric bikes. I can't get into dirt bikes. So that's just going to have to be the list. If you have your own opinion, definitely put it below. What's your list? Put your list below. Don't just run your mouth on my shit and tell me that my stuff is terrible. You can do that. But you better have your stuff below. You can't just say, fuck the Road King without having something else. So tell me what's your list. We're trying to help people here. That's what this is. We're helping somebody. Somebody's going to watch this video and be like, thank you so much, guys. So, food for thought.